Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting. Hi, Dave.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Eric.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
You're back in the blue void. It's like that time when John Oliver was in the void, and the void would talk to him.
Yeah, it was in his basement.
Yeah.
Or whatever room in his house.
Yeah. I see you're murdering your thirst.
I am.
So that's good. That's
a little
good.
Orange today.
Well, let me take care of some housekeeping while you clear the plunder frog from your throat. We've got our annual holiday giveaway is live over on Instagram.
In there.
So there's a lot in here. There's a lot in here for you to win. I'm not going to read off everything that's in here, but I will call attention to the fact that some of our favorite toy lines of the year are represented here in this giveaway, as well as a $100 gift card donated by friend of the pod, friend of the toy community, D. Blake Makes. So there is a $100 gift card in there for you to spend at the D. Blake Makes shop. Get all the signs and he's got accessories for toys. He's got all kinds of things in that shop. So you've got $100 to spend there,
which you would have seen some of at Legion's Con.
Yeah. There's also some store exclusives in there. So there's exclusives from Ringside, Fanatics, the Tamashii Nation's New York store. Yeah, lots of really cool stuff in there. And you have until the end of the month to enter to win this. So
world's smallest Bop It.
12/31. So you literally have until the last day of the year to enter, and that is at AIC_podcast on Instagram. You can head on over there, look for the pinned post, and enter to win this entire holiday in a box. So follow the rules on there. You have until 12/31 to enter. We will announce the winner in the new year. Literally, you will find out in 2026 if you won. Mm-hmm. Also, while you're on our Instagram, keep an eye out. We have begun the tournament, the Archie tournament, the 5th annual tournament to crown the toy line of the year. So we have completed round 2 as of the recording of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, by the time this airs, we might be pretty deep.
Round 2 has not been round 2 will the round 2 results will have been revealed by the time this airs, and will probably be in round 3 or 4. So just keep an eye out on Instagram. Again, that's at AIC_podcast to vote in the stories and help determine who is the what you think is the best toy line of 2025. So I think that is it in terms of housekeeping as of this moment. So I think it's time to bring on our guest.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Legion, or you mentioned D. Blake Makes, because I talked to him at Legion's Con, and I talked to today's guest at Legion's Con. Eric, take it away.
Yeah, so returning guest, friend of the pod. I would like to say that we've been down since day one with our guest. From small beginnings and massively successful Kickstarters to just straight up reaching the point where he can drop a new product in stock, shipping in time for the holidays.
Shadow drop, as they call it in the video game world.
Yeah, shadow drop. I like hot drop. Is our hot drop still a thing? It's like a sneaker drop.
Yeah, it's like a sneaker drop.
Yeah, this is a beak drop, is what it is. This is a beak drop.
I love it. We're going with it.
So, of course, our guest needs no real introduction. It's always a pleasure chatting with Ricky from the world of Plunderlings. Ricky, Plunderbeak himself. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Hi, Eric. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's like I said, it's always a pleasure, and this was a shock to even us. Like we let again, peek behind the curtain. We talk outside of your appearances on the show, and we didn't even know that this
Hmm.
was dropping. Which I love when we still get surprised by things. That's
Yeah, I know
always fun.
you kind of left it as like an illusory like soon at Legion's Con, but didn't know how soon. So
Yeah,
pretty
no,
awesome.
it was a surprise to me too. To be honest, it was kind of one of those impulsive decisions that were made. I'm a little nervous about it because it's also the first time I'm doing it without a Kickstarter. And so but I'm trying something different, and yeah, basically I had it in stock, and I thought, try to get people before the holiday starts might be more fun than waiting for a Kickstarter.
Yeah, and I mean they are here, man. So the Plunderbeaks are officially here. They are, as you said, in stock for the holidays at Plunderlings.com. But outside of the kind of obvious avian theme of these three new figures, what really makes the Plunderbeak different from a Plunderling, a Plunderlong, or a Plunderstrong? And tell us a little bit about kind of what gap these guys fill in your story.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sides. I mean, there's a mechanical, technical side that I think makes it different and interesting compared to everything else that we're offering, and then I can get into my head canon and lore stuff that hasn't really been put out there as much. But mechanically, basically, the wings I think add a lot to it. I've always really liked toys with wings, but was kind of frustrated with the different options that existed. So more than anything, I was excited to try my hand at making interesting, fun, articulated wings. And I went through a lot of iterations. I can show you a couple here that I have with prototypes. But yeah, I retooled them 3 times before before I ended up with wings that I actually thought that worked. But here, I'll just show it real quick here. So this is the first iteration. Was pretty straightforward, but it's just 2 ball joints here. And then I decided it'd be interesting to have them be able to like, and the whole point with these ball joints, by the way, is that they're modular. So you could make the wings smaller, which is one of my biggest complaints about, toys. Sometimes you don't have all that shelf space, and sometimes you want the wings to be able to fold up on itself, and sometimes you'd like them to be bigger. And also they add a lot of weight to the figure as well. That makes it top heavy. So trying out different things. And then the second version, which again was retooling, so it was quite expensive, but I was really trying hard to get it right. I just lifted the bottom one up, and then so this could articulate like that. And then I think it was at San Diego Comic-Con. I was showing it to June, and also Wade from Unparalleled Universe was there. He asked about doing double ball joints, something that I had been thinking about, but I was worried that maybe the pieces would be too small. But we ended up trying that. And what's interesting about that is that you kind of can do both. So it can fold in over itself like that.
Yeah.
Or you can like have it half on, half in 2 different directions. So you can also have the like accordion possibility. And because it's double jointed, it could completely fold over itself as well. And so it's got a lot of options. But then the issue with this one is that all the weight relied on this very last double ball joint, and it just like when you had it in hand. I have an earlier version here. Wait a second. Tell me if and then anyways, it was just too much weight to be trusted in that one joint.
Yeah,
And
it starts to get floppy.
Yeah, exactly. So then on the final version, it was pretty much the same, except the one difference that we did was that we took the last joint and just made it a ball that stuck onto the figure, and that gives it enough support. And so again, the factory definitely thought I was not okay, and they were probably right. But I was really trying to get it there, and it took 3, actually I think that's 4 iterations to kind of get it to a point where I felt like it was fun, and it could hold its own weight, and that you had a lot of posable options. And yeah, that's pretty much what makes it different in terms of the mechanically.
But I think
Yeah,
and having seen it most recently in its like final iteration, seeing that and seeing the modular aspect of it really for me is kind of like that game changer, because it's, of all the things that we've seen in toys, like that's not something we've seen really ever, if often at all. So I think that's like the coolest part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and wings are kind of one of those things in nature that are almost kind of magical, right? Like
Mhm.
where, when a bird puts its wings away, they disappear. Like
Sure.
they
Yeah.
literally become like flat and within, and there's only so much you can do with plastic, right? Like other companies have done things where you pop the wings off and put on a folded mechanic, or something that does kind of collapse them to a degree. And this is just a really cool, the same way that Plunderlings has kind of had this now long history of engineering kind of leaps. This is just another one of those engineering leaps that you guys have pulled off.
No, thank you. Yeah, but basically, I'm hoping that it's fun. That's what it comes down to. I'm trying to make something that's both posable, playable, and more than anything, fun. And another detail that people might not realize right away, that they're reversible, so they have the same color on both sides, which originally they weren't. But the idea here is that if you can just basically mix and match it depending on what direction you want the socket to go in. You can put it on the other side, and those are the different ideas. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. About the modularity. I could show it a little bit better, maybe with a full figure to kind of explain that part a little bit more. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see. All right. Okay, so I have to build it real quick. Okay, I'm just gonna put one wing on so you can kind of get the idea with it. All right.
Yeah, it's already crazy to see how far you've come since we first saw these back at Toy Fair?
Yeah, it might have been a while. It might have taken me a while to get there. But okay, so this is the full wing, right? Which I was showing you earlier. That's totally extended, and again, you can angle it however you like and have it, And then if you want a more medium-sized wing, because you don't want it to be in full soaring mode, you can take the middle part out and just put it like that, for example, and now you have a smaller wing. Or if you want it to go away completely, you can put it on like this, and so now it's like a little cape.
Yeah.
Right? And so it requires a little bit of imagination, like what happened there, But Transformers do stuff like mass shifting and stuff like that, so I feel like it's okay.
Well, it also, like I said, with the concept of wings, I mean, when
Yeah.
animals fold up their wings, they do. It's like
They
a
do
Doctor
that.
Who syndrome. Like it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, right? Like
Yeah.
when a vulture folds its wings, especially some of these larger birds, like a pelican, or their wings really do just disappear and become part of their body. So it's not even really a suspension of disbelief. It's a translation of like a thing in nature to plastic. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's really cool.
So the idea with this, when you have just a little cape on, it could be like you can get them the swashbuckling poses and have them fighting, and not have to worry about the wings and having them be in the way or taking up too much shelf space. And so that's kind of that's what I think makes it different on an engineering level.
So from engineering level to, let's jump into that headcanon. So like we know that storytelling has been something that's been really important in the Plunderlings, the Plunderverse. What is their story? How do the Plunderbeaks come into your story here?
Yeah, with the world building part, I always think kind of almost like an open world video game. So like the Plunder people, the Plunder folk, the Plunder strong, the Plunder long, the Plunderlings are all part of like the crew that you can build out. They're all playable characters, to say it like that. And then the Plunderbeak are more like scavengers, and they're in the Plunderlong. They'll start circling your ship from above, and they'll swoop down and maybe try to steal the stuff that you have. And so basically, they're just overall bad news. They're a little bit less. I'd say they're a little less intelligent, but they're more kind of like enemies. Think of it as like the Moblins or something like that. That's kind of how I'm thinking of. Obviously, people can do whatever they want with them, but I see them more as being like rivals to pretty much all the pirates, because they like to steal from the people who are stealing.
Got it. So they're the pirates of pirates.
Exactly. Well, they only take what they can carry, though, because they don't have a ship or anything. They just try to fly off, and so that's kind of where they're at.
That's
awesome.
So, we talked about the engineering aspect of it, but from kind of that first iteration all the way through to the end to now, what are some of the details? We saw the wings. but what are some of the other details in the Plunderling or in the Plunderbeak that you're most proud of? Whether it's sculpting, engineering, storytelling.
I think the wings were the hardest thing to figure out, but we also managed to get things that with Sebadom, he helped out. We also managed to get articulated mouths working with an articulated tongue. So usually Plunderlings come with 3 different expressions, but in this case, he only comes with 1 head. But you can get a lot of expressions out of it. You can have kind of the closed mouth, the shouting, and then with the tongue out, it could be kind of more like like getting hurt or something like that. So. And all 3 of them, even this one that has a smaller beak, also has the articulated tongue. So we're really trying to, push the limits. Let's see, I don't know if the focus is working.
Yeah.
Articulated
really
tongue
cool.
technology. So, and they also have articulated toes this time as well. So that's also something new.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought that was actually interesting, right? Because like you've done, the previous have always had interesting feet, right? So like the Plunderlings have like you've done the hooves. I'm trying to grab my hooven guy here. Like you've done these different types of feet. I thought it was really interesting that instead of going for like webbed feet on the birds, that you went with like boots. That just a cool aesthetic choice, a little bit maybe unexpected.
Yeah, we did have designed some talons, but at the end the boots felt like they fit better. So yeah, but maybe eventually we'll do some talons with like gripping stuff. But I think the boots kind of added more personality to it.
So from more kind of like mythical beasts and kind of gremlin like designs for the Plunderlings, Strongs, and Longs, what made you kind of go to birds for this next creature?
Yeah, I'm a little bit was a little worried how people would react. 'Cause I feel like everything else pretty obvious in the sense of like there's different like archetypes of fantasy worlds that we're kind of drawing from, but the birds and the frogs is kind of like a lateral step.
Yeah.
It's not really something that people weren't begging me for frogs or for birds, but we want to just keep the world interesting and keep it fresh and really expand on the creatures that live there, and more than anything, I just thought the designs were fun, but yeah, we're still again it's still a work in progress. We have we have a whole animal book. We have like 100 different, I think 100 maybe 100, no, yeah, I think it's 100 different animals designed already with like bios.
Oh, wow.
To figure out how to roll it out in a way that's not overwhelming. But yeah, it's just kind of about fleshing out the universe a bit and taking in unexpected directions. And I think that's what keeps it exciting and fun because I don't know, a big part of what the feeling that I tried to capture with it was when I would go to a toy store as a kid and would just see all these unexpected things on the toy shelf and didn't really know what it came from, and I just liked the way it looked and could kind of like infer things from the design and that sort of unexpectedness. I want to try to keep that aspect of it alive and maybe not make it too predictable maybe where it could go.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's definitely lost, right? Like I recently saw one of those memes floating around on it was either Instagram or TikTok, and it was like just a jump cut of what do they call it? Millennial dread, I think is the actual term for it, because it's like kids will never know what it's like to only be able to be on a phone in a certain room because the cord only goes a certain length, or like rent a video at Blockbuster. And one of them was walk into a toy store and see something you didn't know was coming and like completely unknown special. Yeah. And we've talked about this at length with you about being an original IP gives you the opportunity to deliver on those types of surprises that like some of these legacy IPs, love them or hate them, can't do, right? Because there's only a certain roster of characters that they have to choose from. So if you make one of those characters, it's like, oh, I know that character, great. This is like everything is new each time, brand new from the ground up. So it's cool that you get to deliver on that.
But I think the big thing too is like you see the Plunderbeak and the frog, and you know what they are. Like, if you are familiar with the Plunderlings universe, you know that these belong here. Like, that
Yeah,
they're a part of this. They
for
have
sure.
that's distinct style that separates the whole universe from
Yeah.
anything else.
I mean, it's just like when you hold these two next to each other, like they couldn't be more different in terms of color palette,
Hmm.
but like they fit. Like there's those little details, the little shapes of
Yeah.
things, the way that they articulate, where you see a plunderling, I hate using this word, you see a plunderling product and you realize like, oh no, this belongs here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the body type, the style, like just the kind of curvature of, joints and things like that. That's like the Plunderling style. So yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely lots of pros and cons with working with an original IP rather than something that's pre-existing. Obviously, the harder part is kind of swimming against the current in terms of collectors really wanting to find things to celebrate their childhood and things like that, and with built-in communities already around certain IPs, this is a little more of like an uphill battle to try to get people to take a look at something that they're not going to recognize from their childhood. But at the same time, the advantages are that, yeah, like you said, where this could go is a little more open-ended. I do think that like the legacy IPs kind of become like checklists, and people just become like, well, where's this character and where's this character? And you know where it's going to go. It still might be surprising in terms of when you get it. But again, there's only so much available. And then a lot of times with the design decisions too, there's a lot of freedom with trying to design the figure around the articulation or the shapes, the silhouettes that you're looking for, that might be more fun for a toy rather than trying to capture accuracy. And then that's one of my complaints about modern toys a little bit, that kind of really chase after this sort of like on-screen accuracy, because I feel like the design decisions that were made for the shows aren't the same reasons why we make those design decisions for toys. Like, but yeah, maybe I differ a little bit with a lot of collectors, but I really enjoy the fact that the Ninja Turtle toys looked a certain way and that the TV show looked a different way, and there's a lot of decisions that made the toy better, like hiding all these sculpted details and in weird places. The making them beefier makes it more fun to hold. Having a really big expression also makes it something that's more fun to handle, and
Yep.
in different positions. And then for the show, of course, it makes sense to soften them up a bit, to have it on a kid's show, less details so you can't animate that. Adding pupils so you can know where they're looking, which is more important when you're looking at a show, rather than a toy. Doesn't matter, right? Like, no matter where you put the pupils, you're always going to be kind of mistaken. That's part of the reason why the Plunderlings don't have any on that front. So you can also just imagine where they're looking. And that's something I liked about the original Turtles as well.
Yeah, and I think the honestly, like, to use a very cliched term, the proof is in the pudding. But like, when you see, I mean, how many conventions we've been to where you've also been there with the table full of everything, and you just see people who already know the product already know the universe and come up and love it and compliment it. But then you see like parents with kids who this is brand new to them and are just like blown away, like, with the, oh, this is cool, like, I want this. And kids will just sit there and start playing with them, and like, oh, stuff, hats pop off, but they're magnets so they could pop right back on. Like, everything is just so, I want to say, welcoming to like everybody, collectors of all ages, all types. Like, it's super easy universe to get into, and I think that continues on here.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, part of it is to make it accessible, but again, it's been, now having done it or having gone through, I know why a lot of people don't, because it is kind of a hard corner we put in, where it's like, okay, it's a collector product at a collector price, but not quite geared toward what most people want to collect. But again, rather than trying to capture a specific IP from your childhood, I'm trying to just capture that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that feeling that I remember, that it was the fact that it was fresh made it exciting. And the fact that I didn't quite know what it was, there's a mystery to it, all that was part of the feeling. It's not so much trying to relive that exact, like, oh, I remember when I found that exact, X-Men or whatever toy. I'm trying to kind of capture that more vague feeling of just being kind of delighted by something new, and that you can kind of take home and discover and make up your own stories as well.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
Well, speaking of capturing feelings, we said it at the beginning, capturing that feeling of like, oh, this isn't a open pre-order that's going to ship in 6 months. Like seeing that something pops up in stock, which, like we mentioned, the Plunderbeaks are currently in stock and ready to ship on Plunderlings.com. What's the behind the scenes reality of getting something like this, out the door? Production scrambles, surprises, what's this process like of like actually dropping something in stock?
Again, this is gonna be the first time for me to not go through the whole Kickstarter campaign first with like stretch goals. The reasons are kind of convoluted and maybe confusing how I ended up getting here. Basically, a big part of it was the tariff scare after Liberation Day, and hearing about all these changes. I decided to go ahead and put in the order for the product, because at least I had an idea of what it was like, and I was worried that things were going to change in the future. And so I kind of took a risk, both financially and everything, to put in the order to start the manufacturing process, hoping to have the Kickstarter launch earlier. But then the Kickstarter also kept getting delayed, and there's always other Kickstarters happening too, and I don't want to step on other projects' feet. And so basically these came in to the US, and I wasn't quite ready to launch the Kickstarter, and it felt kind of silly to sit on this product. And to then launch a Kickstarter for something that was already manufactured, right? Because I wasn't doing the Kickstarter. I know you need those funds usually to make the product. In this case, it's the same situation. The only difference is that there's debts and loans and stuff like that to figure it out. I was hoping to have the Kickstarter then reimburse those, but the truth is I already took the risk, and so it wasn't necessary anymore to go through that hoop. And honestly, it was just kind of a last minute decision to just go ahead and offer them. And the big thinking was that let's try to get them to people before Christmas. I'm going to be doing all the film myself, so please be patient. I'm going to spend all next week packaging these up, and I'll pay for the fastest shipping that we can to try to get it to people before Christmas. But all kind of depends on USPS at that point.
Well, really cool. I mean, it's not something that we see very frequently now. I mean, you yourself, even as a collector, it's rare that we get a what do they call it now in the business, right? See now, buy now. It's rare that happens, especially with an indie company. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
It was definitely stressful. I understand why. Why again it's not done frequently. I probably wouldn't have made, knowing everything I know now, I might have done things differently. But yeah, if it works, I'll keep doing it like this, because on the difference this time though is that the fact that everything's just available now rather than doing it through the Kickstarter route. My one concern is that maybe less people will hear about it, because the Kickstarter gives you like a whole campaign and a whole month to get the word out. So I appreciate you guys having me on and helping me spread the word where I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of what's coming up next, at Legion's Con, you showed off the frog-inspired creatures with now the Plunderbeaks out, joining the Plunderlongs, Plunderstrongs, and Plunderlings. When can we expect to see the amphibious creatures
Right. So
come to the world?
Yeah, they. I don't have a date for them yet, despite that magazine cover saying that it was coming in the summer. I'm going to try to get them out as soon as possible. They still haven't arrived. So I also want to give people some breathing room, after they get these, to not overwhelm people with too much stuff. But yeah, I have them. I have one here, a prototype here, to just kind of show what it looks like. So they have these masks. And then this is what their face looks like. And then they have kind of like this tadpole-like head with 4 arms. Again, very unusual, but they have a lot of interesting articulation. They can swivel the waist. They can swivel on the top here. And yeah, you can get them in interesting like swimming poses. And for me, lore-wise, these are kind of like the traders of the world, like the people that you bump into and like maybe purchase wares from and stuff like that. And they're kind of like alchemists and potion makers, and then there's also an articulated tongue. Well, it's a posed tongue that then you can snap on weapons to. So in total, they can hold 5 weapons at any given point. They could hold 1 weapon in every arm, and the weapon on their tongue as well. But those. Yeah, those I need to first got to see how well we did with the beaks, and then they will be coming out again, because I'm also already committed to having manufactured those. The question is it's just a matter of timing, and
Got it.
And then again, it kind of all come. I don't want to make it sound too dire, but it kind of comes down to how I'm going to do things in the future will 100% depend on how these beaks and frogs doing it like this. Because the great thing about Kickstarter, again, isn't just the whole campaign aspect of it, but it really helps mitigate your risk. Because if you don't get enough orders and you really don't want to even be producing, because the MOQs, the minimum order quantities from the factories, are so large that unless you can prove to yourself that you can hit those numbers, it doesn't make sense to pay for the whole run. So here I'm just kind of betting on the quality of the figure speaking for itself, the fans getting the word out, people getting excited about it, rather than actually kind of testing it through the Kickstarter to make sure the pre-order numbers are there before committing to a production.
I mean, I think it's an interesting time, one for the Plunder universe, right? Like in general, but also like us as collectors. Like I think there's generally this understanding of a little bit of like fatigue with, again, some of these kind of legacy brands.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like where you're coming in at with the price of these of the beaks being $30 USD a piece, and also being something different and fresh and unique, I think it's a very advantageous experiment, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a great price,
and you're betting on yourself, and speaking kind of candidly, as having had multiple conversations with you, this brand is strong. Like, and for a brand that doesn't have a comic book, it doesn't have a TV show yet, it doesn't have any of those kind of supporting multimedia assets. The figures are just so good, and Dave kind of mentioned it before, but every time somebody sees these, like when they come up into my office here at home and they see these, it's the first thing. Like, there are 4 Plunderlings on my desk at any given time. It's the 4 that I've kind of been showing here on camera, surrounded by literally like a couple hundred other figures.
surrounded
The first
by
thing
pre-existing IP to
the first thing that anyone ever asks about, and I'm not kidding, every time. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, what's that? And then I explain to them and I show them the magnetic hats. And it's just like you did at New York Comic Con that one time when we were in the middle of a conversation and that little kid walked up and was like, Dad, what's this? And like you took the hat off and you're like, look, it's magnetic and you can put this on his back and he can wear this and you can switch this. And oh, by the way, you can take the hat off and put it on the little hatchling. And he was just like, I need this now. Like, and that
Yeah.
kid was like, what, 8, 9? Yeah. So I think, kudos to you, man, for betting on yourself. I don't think enough people have the confidence to do what you're doing here. And, I think as soon as people realize, as soon as people start to get these in hand and start to see pictures of them and start to see how they look with the rest of the universe, I think they're gonna move.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
hope so. And yeah, I've gotten a lot of support from the community, and that's what that honestly, I'm not a naturally confident person, so that's what gives me the confidence to keep pursuing it, and that there's something here, and then there's stuff that people are enjoying. And yeah, if I can make people happy and I can make toys, that's it. That's all. That's all I really want to be doing.
But,
Um,
yeah, even with the frogs, like those coming, like there's more engineering marvel there, like with the be able to with the double torso and like all of that, the multiple arms and the
The
hat and the
tongue.
mask. Yeah, like it's there's more great stuff coming.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of cross play between them too, because we would try to match all the colors so you can mix and match them as well. So if you really wanted to, you could put different heads on them, so you could have like a flying Plunderlong or stuff like that. I can't, I don't necessarily agree with that lore wise, but I can't stop you from doing what you want to do with your toys. So so yeah, I think there'll be a lot of cross play there, and again, these are, for me, it's been amazing being able to do this, and even if this is the last group that I do, which I hope it won't be, but it'll be awesome to have been able to create this world and get it out there, and have people react the way they have.
Stop. Don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Don't talk like that. But we can't.
when not if. That's
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's just getting tougher. I mean, I'm sure you hear from other companies too. It's getting tougher with the tariffs and
Yeah.
the cost of manufacturing going up,
Mhm.
and people are being more careful with their money, and I totally understand that as well. So yeah, let's see. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure what the other toy companies we've had on are saying, but there is kind of been a little shift in the general sentiment, and I understand too. There's only so much you can collect, and I'm just hoping to make the short list of a lot of collectors. When you have to end up choosing, because I have to choose too as a collector.
Well, that's one of the things that's also, I guess you could say economical about Plunderlings, because
Mhm.
you can certainly army build and, get a ton of them and have like a whole army of them. Or, there are only so many characters available so far. And if you are just getting, one or two of each type and each color, it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things in
Mhm.
terms of real estate, collecting real estate. So, but speaking of the Plunderlings themselves, it's been a while since we've seen any, new additions to their ranks. Are there any plans to bring any new kind of colors or even potentially form factors like genders or anything to any of the existing characters?
Yeah, that's definitely the next stage that we want to get to after this. For me, this was kind of like a sidestep again. Like, there's there's the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins, and so for me, these are I call them out the Plunder Primos. Like these are kind of like side characters, but I want to come back to the main cast and expand that and expand the types of bodies that we're using. And I'm pretty far into development with some of them. I'll probably show them a bit later. I want to try to. I need to stop myself because I always overshare the plans, and then it takes a long time to actually get there. So I'm trying to practice a little more discipline there. But yes, that would be the next stage after the frogs. Would be to come back to the Plunderlings and finish the Plunderling, the Plunderlong, the Plunderstrong, and finish kind of fleshing out that roster, if you will.
Very cool. Well,
Awesome.
as Dave said, we are not an if podcast, we are a when. So we are excited for when
That happens.
you get to explore that arena.
Great. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, if all goes to plan, we're looking more likely the Plunder Frogs the first half of the year, and then again with that when maybe that those closer to the end of the year. Whether we do a Kickstarter again, go back to that way of doing things, or just do this where we put in the order and we eat the cost up front, knowing that we'll have the support when they come in stock. Then that might be the new way to do it. I'd rather do it like that as well, because I the Kickstarter, again, for all the great things about the crowdfunding, it's also, I feel like, a lot to ask of people to pay up front for something and then have them wait a year or maybe 2 years and not really know exactly what they're getting. I do also like the transparency of just being able to ship this and have the reviewers review the product in hand, and then people make their decision whether they want to buy it or not. It's a little more of a simple transaction rather than kind of like selling hopes and promises.
Yeah. Well, to your
Not
point,
to mention though too, like you get when people go up to the table at like a Comic-Con or a Legion's Con or any of the places where you have the table, it's now if it's like, oh, the Plunderbeak, well, we gotta wait for it. Well, no, it's here. Like you can get that now, like literally as you're holding one.
Yeah, and also I'm also hoping that people will be able to kind of when they get them in hand, I feel like that's when they really kind of understand the product more, because I feel like the pictures only go so far, that when you can actually pick them up and play with them and see how they're built, I feel like that's a big thing that kind of changes people's idea on what it is.
and I have to say, for people that maybe, first of all, if this is the first time you've ever heard about Plunderlings, congratulations on being under a rock for 5 years or so.
Well, I was going to say welcome aboard,
but also welcome aboard. But they hold up really well over time. Like there are lots of little joints on these, and you can see, like, I'm gonna grab somebody to just kind of compare to. I've got an SH figure arts here, so like in terms of size next to a 1/12 scale figure, like these are smaller, but these joints are just the way that they were when I got this figure, however long ago this was. This is now years. I mean, this does not, it moves exactly the way that it needs to, and it stays that way. And not the same can't be said for a lot of other toys that are out there. Like these, I cannot stress enough how well engineered these figures are. Like, please believe me, these do hold up, and they're, like I said, they're statement pieces.
The other thing too is Eric's like, somebody who does, photography and poses things well. Like I can pose these.
It's true.
Somebody who's like figures usually just stand there. But it's like the pictures definitely show you what you can do with them, but they also, when you hold them, you like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, we've probably talked about it before, but I feel like there's a specific point in the articulation that we're trying to hit, because I do think it's possible to get too articulated. Like there's lots of little details, but for example, like we could have made this 2 pins so that it could rotate from the elbow or the bicep, but we made it a square pin so it only rotates from the bicep, because again, why having just a spinning bicep isn't really something that you can do anatomically, right? And only adds to the complexity of something of emotion that isn't organic. So I love articulated figures, but I do believe that you can get too articulated and then you kind of lose the plot in a way in terms of like how this figure is supposed to move. And we were trying to kind of hit that sweet spot where you can do pretty much everything that you want to do with it, but have it still feel sturdy, something you can put in your pocket, and something that moves naturally. Because there's a lot of interesting articulation methods that that something, even with the wings that we came up with, but at the end of the day, if you can't move it in a way that that feels normal, to say it like that like if that was your, it becomes like a puzzle that you need to kind of like figure out, which again can be fun, but it's just a different
it's cool when
feeling.
things move, but does it make sense?
Yeah.
The example I always like to give people is you could see on like if you were swinging a large two-handed object like this, your abdomen's only going to go to a certain point before you stop. Like, you can't go past that point. And if you look, that's exactly what's going on here. Like, you get just the right amount of contortion on that to make that swing look natural, and it'll hold that pose. Like, if I put this, I can't show you because where my camera is, but like if I put this down on my desk and swivel the feet, like, he will stand in that pose holding this very top heavy mallet. The proportions and the center of gravity on these are insane. I literally just put it down and stand. I didn't even need to move the feet. Do yourself a favor. If you're starting to feel that collector fatigue and you're like, I need something to kind of spark myself, I want to see what something new is, take a $30 roll of the dice on one of these Plunderbeaks and just have fun. Like, sit down, crisscross applesauce on the floor or at your desk, and just open it and have fun. Like, you will have fun. I can promise you will have fun. These toys are fun. Toys are fun, right? As Ralphie once said. But yeah, so Ricky, I know you're a busy guy. It's your day after launch. You probably have like 13 interviews today. Remind our listeners, our watchers, where can they stay up to date on Plunderlings, and where can they get their Plunderbeaks?
They're on two places right now. We have them on our Plunderlings.com as ready to order, and then on Big Bad Toy Store, they're for pre-order. So they might take a little bit longer to fulfill, but I know there are a lot of people who like to do their pile of loot and everything. But on Plunderlings.com, we're going to start doing fulfillment on them next week. We're just going to let the orders come in, and the next week we'll be fulfilling those, again, trying to make that close to that Christmas deadline. So hopefully there's something fun under the tree. And to stay up to date, we have a mailing list and the Instagram, which we need to update more frequently, but that's the best places to hear from us.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Ricky Claus, in fulfilling those holiday orders. And yeah, I know I'm super excited to get my beaks, and I got my order in like lickety split. The moment those went up, I texted you, maybe cursed a little bit, and then ordered all three. But yeah, Ricky, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And we'll put links to where you can get your Plunderbeaks in the description below, in the description for the podcast. And I think with that, Dave, get us out of here.
Go get your Plunderbeaks.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Learn more about him in the show notes. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Adventures in Collecting, and on Twitter at AIC_podcast. Stop by and say hi. Show us your hauls and photos. Tell us your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it on a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.